Hello there, YouTubes. Now, we all knew that Donald Trump's presidency was going to change the world in potentially unforeseen ways. And so it has come to pass. Donald Trump has united an incredibly divided nation. And I'm not just talking about America, who have en masse decided that he's a fucking prick who doesn't know what the hell he's doing.
See, that's ironic if they think he's a massive prick who doesn't know what he's doing, because they all look like pricks who don't actually know what they're doing. I know what they think they're doing. What they think they're doing is being good people by refuting racism and sharing the wealth of the rich nation with poor refugees. And while that's a nice thought, if not a little bit virtue signally, it's also proven to not work. All you have to do is go and look at a news broadcast from the past 12 months. They show us what happened in Germany or in Italy or in France when they just let them in.
Let them in! Let them in! And his already low approval ratings have disappeared off the edge of a cliff, quite rightly.
It always amazes me to hear how these social justice types talk with such smug tones when they feel like they've got someone by the balls. There's a few things to dispute here. First off, the polls are often wrong. If you want proof of that, go and look at the polls that said Hillary is going to beat Trump in the election, or the polls that said the people of the UK are going to vote Remain in the EU, which they obviously didn't. These are possibly two of the biggest political shifts in a decade, and the polls got it wrong. Secondly, consider the source, instead of just believing everything that says the world is exactly how you want it to be. Your source here is thehill.com. The Hill is a conservative newspaper that would have its readers believe as many bad things about Trump as it could lay its hands on. Now that's not to say that these polls are wrong, sometimes they're not. But you going round regurgitating it as though it's fact says a lot about you as a person, and that we should take everything that you say with a bucket of salt.
No. I'm talking about his uniting of Great Britain. Yes, my own nation has basically told Donald to go fuck himself, as more than 1.25 million fucking people have signed an official petition on the Downing Street website to cancel his upcoming state visit later this year.
There you go with that fucking smug attitude again. It's like if you say anything with confidence, people will just believe you and think it's true. And since when does a petition with 1.2 million signatures mean that your nation has told Trump to go fuck himself? Do you know how many people live in the UK? I'll show you. There are 65,347,237 people in the UK at the time of this recording. So minus your 1,270,187 petition signatures equals a grand total of 63,977,056 people. That's 1.94% of the UK population. So I ask you again, how the hell does 1.2 million signatures equal your nation telling Trump to go fuck himself? I bet you looked at that number and thought, oh wow, that's a big number. We're really speaking out against Trump as a nation and telling him to go fuck himself. Good for us, we're such a liberal nation.
This is by far the most signed petition in the history of the site, following on from the second most popular, which was also about Donald Trump, but this time to block him from entering the country at all.
Which tells you everything you need to know about the people who are jumping on this petition signing bandwagon. The fact that we've just voted to leave the EU, and now you want to cut us off from the President of the USA, and therefore the USA itself, shows us just how short-sighted these petition signers really are.
But anyway, back to this one. This wouldn't be to block Donald Trump completely from entering the country, because obviously now he's the head of the US government, and so, as NATO allies and both permanent members of the UN Security Council, it would be rather silly to block him completely from entering the country.
Rather silly indeed, mate. I'd go as far as to say that would make one a silly sausage, and no one wants to be known as a fucking silly sausage.
So he can go to Downing Street and he can have a cup of tea with the Prime Minister and all that jazz. But this petition is calling for the cancelling of the state visit. That being where he goes to visit the most archaic and fucking ridiculous medieval bullshit part of the British government, where he goes to Buckingham Palace to meet the Queen, who is technically the head of state. And I, and well over 1 million fucking fellow Britons, have decided that no, we don't wish for the British state to honour him in this way.
What do you mean, honour him? You just referred to our monarchy as the most archaic and fucking ridiculous medieval bullshit part of the British government. So is it an honour for Trump to visit our head of state? Or is it the most archaic and fucking ridiculous medieval bullshit part of British government? I mean, mate, If you can't even follow your own arguments, then what chance do the rest of us fucking have? Jesus.
And do you realise what an achievement that is from Donald Trump? To unite a nation that, for certainly the last few years, has been as divided as it has been since the English Civil War.
You just compared figures of 17 million people on one side of Brexit and over 16 million people on the other side of Brexit to the pitiful 1.2 million people that signed your pansy little petition. Yeah, we had 17 million people on one side and 16 million people on the other side. It was looking pretty cut and dry there for a second, but then these 1.2 million other cunts came in and sorted it all out for us. Are you doing this on purpose just to give me some content to upload? Because it's very kind of you. But just stop it.
That's really quite an achievement on his part. I mean, you have to be a real fucking prick to motivate over 1 million people to sign a fucking petition.
Honesty triggers SJWs. Who knew?
Which now the UK government will have to formally respond to.
And absolutely nothing will come of it because the US is our most important ally.
And this will be debated in the British Parliament, with already the leaders of the British Labour Party, the official governmental opposition, and the leader of the Liberal Democrats, both calling for the state visit to be cancelled.
None of whom are the Conservative Party who are currently in power in the UK.
Leaving Prime Minister May, who has, at least in written form, come out in opposition to Trump's horrendously racist immigration plan, in a rather difficult position.
So it's racist now. I can't keep up with all this. I thought it was Islamophobic.
But whatevs. So big thanks to Engelbert Trumperdink for bringing my nation back together again by being a totally, monumentally bigoted prick. The petition is linked below. If you're a citizen in the UK, please, by all means, go and sign it.
That is if you want to deny Trump the honour of visiting our most archaic and fucking ridiculous medieval bullshit part of the British government. If you can understand a word of what he was trying to say in that video, then I'd love for you to reach out and tell me with a comment, because I have no clue. The original video's linked below if you want to have a look. See ya.